so much fly tipping in Merthyr?
I think most people seem to be agreeing that it's becoming more of a problem at the minute. I think it's probably twofold. Householders are able to get rid of less waste than they used to be able to in their Sulu bins. So I think some of the householders are starting to dump their black bags. And also businesses, so people that do things like garden clearances and house clearances, they have to pay to get rid of their waste. So sometimes they find it easier to just go and dump their waste instead of paying for it and acting responsibly.
Would the council benefit of putting hidden cameras in fly tipping hotspots?
It's a really good point and a really relevant point at the minute, because right now they're starting to do that. Just last week, I understand the council has started to put cameras in some of these hotspot areas.
Is there enough being done to prosecute fly tippers, and how can it be stopped?
Over the last few years, I don't think there's been enough done to prosecute fly tippers, and I think the council would acknowledge that as well. But just recently, like I said, with the recent cameras that have been put up, it's all part of a wider move to start to take seriously the issue of fly tipping and fly tippers. So they're starting to really go after people now. It's not something that they've done for the last few years, but it is something that they're starting to do now.
How much and how long does it take to clear one fly tipping site?
It can take ages, and the cost across Wales is somewhere in the region of £100 million a year. The last one that I did, that I was involved in, was just last Friday, and that took all day. It took me all day, and there were 20 people taking part, and it took us all day to do one job.
Do you think if people were not turned away from recycling centres for having plastic bags amongst rubbish, there'd be less fly tipping?
I think that's part of the solution. It may mean slightly less fly tipping out in the countryside, but on the whole, it would mean more waste going to landfill instead of being recycled. So it's stopping one problem and causing another potentially. So it's very difficult to get right, but it is something which could be a lot easier for people to just dispose of their waste.
Do you know if anyone has been prosecuted for fly tipping?
Somebody got prosecuted last week. Somebody went to court and were charged £500 or £600 as a fine for fly tipping in Merthyr.
Who would you contact to report a fly tipping site?
So you can report two things. You can report a problem site, and you can report if you witness somebody doing it. So both of those separate reports you can send on to the council, and they'll try to do something about it.
Is there worse areas than Merthyr for fly tipping?
Parts of Merthyr are about as bad as it gets in Wales. I think locally, I think parts of it are as bad as it gets anywhere in Wales. It seems to be that certain places which get hit again and again by fly tipping. In Merthyr, there's a lot of really nice countryside, which is quite close to where a lot of people live and work. So it's a problem, partly because of the geography of the area, really.